For nearly a decade now, the Los Angeles Dodgers have been an absolute nightmare for opponents. A powerhouse year in and year out, thanks to their deep pockets and unparalleled player development system. The Dodgers haven't missed the playoffs since 2012, and while their stretch of consecutive division titles ended last year after an 8-season run atop the National League West, the Dodgers still tied their franchise record in 2021 with 106 wins. Last year's team, however, doesn't hold a candle to the juggernaut they've put together for 2022. Nor, for that matter, does the 2020 version of the Dodgers, who won at a 7-17 clip during the pandemic-shortened regular season and ultimately snapped the franchise's 3+ decade World Series drought. Because the revamped Dodgers aren't merely the best team in baseball. They've got the potential to be the greatest team in modern baseball history. There's no definitive answer to the question, who is the best team in modern baseball history? The strongest case probably belongs to the 1927 Murderers Row Yankees, led by Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, who propelled New York to 110 wins and swept their way to a World Series title. But you could also make a case for the 1932 Yankees, or the 1939 Yankees, or the 1961 Yankees, or the 1998 Yankees. Each of those teams finished with at least 102 regular season wins and a preposterous run differential, then waltzed their way to a championship. There's also a case to be made, though, for the 1975 Cincinnati Reds. With a bevy of Hall of Famers leading the charge, the Big Red Machine went 108-54 before besting the Red Sox in the World Series. Other contenders include the 1929 Philadelphia A's, the 1942 St. Louis Cardinals, the 1954 Cleveland Indians, the 1970 Baltimore Orioles. I could go on. And I still haven't mentioned the team that holds the single-season wins record, the 2001 Seattle Mariners, who shocked the world en route to an 116-46 regular season, but ultimately came up short in the playoffs. And then, of course, there's the 2020 Dodgers, who put up a higher winning percentage than the 2001 Mariners, albeit over an abbreviated 60-game regular season, then cruised their way to a long-awaited World Series championship.
Dave Roberts. And strike three! Dodgers have won it all in 2020!
None of those teams, however, were as good as the 2022 Dodgers should be. LA brought back or ably replaced almost every key piece from last year's 106-win team and offset its biggest departure, Corey Seager, by bringing in the best hitter available in free agency, 5-time All-Star and 2020 NL MVP, Freddie Freeman. Maybe a cross-sport metaphor would help convey just how stacked these Dodgers are. Los Angeles signing Freeman is essentially equivalent to the dynastic Golden State Warriors signing Kevin Durant ahead of the 2016-2017 campaign. We all know how that turned out.
The Golden State Warriors have won back-to-back NBA championships, and they have won 3 of the last 4 NBA titles.
Ultimately, it's no stretch to say that the Dodgers lineup at full health is the deepest and strongest in history. They may not have a 3-4 combo that compares to Ruth and Gehrig, whose 27 Yankees still hold the single-season record for OPS and weighted runs created plus, but the Dodgers lineup nevertheless still features 3 former MVPs, Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Cody Bellinger, and notably has 0 weak spots. Essentially, the Dodgers are set to rock a very similar lineup to the one they had in 2020, when they fielded one of the best offenses of the live ball era, except with All-Star Trey Turner replacing Seager and Freeman in the mix as well. Freeman, of course, has been one of baseball's top 10 hitters for the better part of the last decade, while Turner, whom the Dodgers acquired at last year's trade deadline, leads his position in OPS since the start of 2020. As crazy as it may sound, the worst hitter in the Dodgers lineup may be Bellinger, who spent the last 2 years desperately trying to rediscover the form that helped him clobber 47 bombs with a 1035 OPS in 2019 en route to the NL MVP award. If Bellinger can rebound though, Los Angeles' weakest everyday hitter will likely be Gavin Lux, a consensus top 5 prospect coming into 2020 who took home Baseball America's Minor League Player of the Year award the year prior. And not only are the Dodgers ridiculously deep offensively, but they're also extremely balanced in terms of handedness. They've got Betts, Turner, Will Smith, and Justin Turner from the right side, and Freeman, Max Muncy, and Bellinger from the left. Good luck to you, opposing pitchers. Meanwhile, as fearsome as they are offensively, the Dodgers are also poised to be one of the league's elite defensive teams. Last year, the Dodgers finished in the top 10 in the majors in defensive runs saved, and their defense is only primed to get better with Turner replacing Seager, one of the game's weaker defensive shortstops. Critically, the Dodgers are strong up the middle. Smith, who may be the best all-around catcher in the game, played plus defense behind the plate last year in his first full season in the bigs, finishing in the 67th percentile for his pitch framing while throwing out potential base stealers at an average rate. Then there's Turner, who's been worth 13 outs above average at shortstop since becoming an everyday player in 2018. And out in center field, there's Bellinger, who, despite coming up as a first baseman and corner outfielder, put up 9 outs above average in center last year in just 87 games. Oh yeah, and they also have Betts, a 5-time Gold Glover, in right field. Ultimately, the Dodgers have lots of talent and versatility on defense that, combined with an extremely shift-heavy approach, help them put up the highest defensive efficiency rating in the majors in 2021. There's no reason they shouldn't be just as stalwart, if not more so, in 2022. So, to summarize, they've got what looks like the greatest offense in history and a staunch defense that uses a data-heavy approach to tremendous success. And, spoiler alert, they've also got the pitching to become the greatest team ever.
Oh my God, enough.
Though the Dodgers' rotation has undergone a proverbial changing of the guard, with longtime ace Clayton Kershaw getting supplanted on the depth chart by Walker Buehler and Julio Urias, that says more about the Dodgers' other starters than it does about Kershaw's gentle decline. Buehler has become one of the game's most dominant starters, boasting a career 2.90 ERA and a pair of All-Star nominations already.
Bueller.
Meanwhile, Urias has also blossomed into a top-level starter, finishing 7th in NL Cy Young voting last year after crafting a 2.96 ERA over 32 starts. Fun fact, he was also the major's only 20-game winner in 2021. At 34, Kershaw isn't as durable as he used to be, but the 3-time Cy Young Award winner nevertheless remains one of baseball's best starters when healthy, having reinvented himself in recent years to offset his waning velocity. Last year, in fact, Kershaw put up his best fielding independent pitching since 2016. Ultimately, any team would kill to have 3 starters as good as the Dodgers' top 3. But wait, there's more. Behind Kershaw, the Dodgers have Tony Gonsolin, who may not be a household name, but the dude owns a 2.85 ERA 3 years into his career and would likely be the opening day starter for half the league's teams. And their 5th starter, Andrew Heaney, he had a higher strikeout rate than Buehler last year. That's a pretty stacked rotation. And if you thought the bullpen would be a weak spot for the Dodgers following the departures of Joe Kelly and longtime closer Kenley Jansen, think again. Less than a week out from opening day, Los Angeles replaced Jansen with another elite veteran closer in Craig Kimbrell, an 8-time All-Star who averaged more than 15 strikeouts per 9 innings last year. Meanwhile, their new setup men also throw gas and rack up the Ks. Blake Trinan actually had a lower ERA and FIP than Jansen in 2021, while Daniel Hudson managed the 9th highest strikeout rate among qualified relievers. In addition to those 3, the Dodgers also have one of the game's hardest throwing relievers in Brusdar Graterol, some burgeoning high-leverage studs in Phil Bickford and Alex Vezia, and a decorated, left-handed X-factor in David Price. That's a damn fine bullpen. It may not be the greatest collection of relievers ever, but, well, it doesn't have to be for the 2022 Dodgers to be history's greatest team. After all, nobody remembers who was handling the 8th inning for the 75 Reds or the 98 Yankees. Rather, people remember the stars, and the Dodgers have accumulated so many, it's not even fair. That's why their own manager, Dave Roberts, was comfortable anointing them the 2022 World Series champions weeks before the season started. You simply don't see that level of hubris from a manager during spring training, ever. It's not normal. But then again, neither is this team. They're special. Actually, They're historic. And when it's all said and done, they could potentially go down as the greatest team ever. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.